Welcome to the Taproxy Method, creating confident learners. The Taproxy Method uses a unique combination of breath work, brain-body work, gratitude, and a clay-based program to affect the neuroplasticity of the brain in students, to help strengthen their mind-body connection, help them develop a growth mindset, and most importantly, trust and confidence in themselves. Welcome to another episode of the Creating Confident Learners podcast. I hope you're doing well today. It's hard to believe that it's been just over a couple weeks since these wildfires on August 8th raged through Maui, both in Lahaina and upcountry in Kula and Olinda, as well as there was a few fires in other places, Kahului and Kihei. And to be honest, I don't know exactly where to start. I have an outline here, and we are starting to move out of crisis mode into recovery mode, but we're still in recovery. And this is hard to digest and hard to talk about. My heart definitely aches, and it's both heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. Life seems to be a beautiful contradiction right now, but the magnitude of loss of homes and lives and livelihoods is overwhelming. But then there's so many heartwarming stories of strangers helping strangers, people stepping up. What can I do? There's no way to really know who has done what, who has sent money, who has lent a hand. That $5 here, that hug, the hello, how are you, the smiles, what can I do? And the numerous volunteers just trying and helping. It's actually really quite beautiful to be watching here on Maui as we live through these Maui wildfires of, I guess they're going to be of August 2023. And if you know Hawaii, if you've ever been to any of the islands, and Maui in particular, you won't be surprised that people are stepping up. People of every different nationality of the community, filling in what needs are needing to be met. There's so many grassroots organizations that have really stepped up where everybody has needed something. And for me, like, people here in this community on this island are some of the loveliest people there is in the world. And if you can believe it, people are even kinder and even nicer and even more loving than normal. And I've been on Maui for over a decade, and we are a Hanai family. We are an extended family. We know everybody, or we are so closely knit on this small island in the middle of the Pacific. And just the sheer amount of volume of people and donations and time and effort and creating organizations like the Maui Rapid Response Group and boots on the ground, and people really just, how can I help? It's really quite beautiful, even while we're aching, right? And so I know there's a few things I've noticed. Some people here and far away have been emotionally overwhelmed, understandably, and have been shutting down. And I think right now what I'm doing is looking for glimmers of hope, things that are positive, things that I can do in the moment or make me feel better, right? Right now it's the time to look for solutions, not the conspiracy, not the land grabs, not the fear. And yes, these are, true things happening, but we have to have better tools than numbing out. And that's why I do talk a lot about the meditation, the breath work, movement, positivity, and gratitude, being in nature, and also at this time being okay with not being okay. Right? One of my good friends, Dennis Martin, he's a Peloton instructor, so you might have heard him in his classes say this. But with emotion, it's better out than in, whether it's laughter, whether it's tears. And it's okay to grieve. There's a lot to grieve right now in this community, and there's a lot to celebrate too. But I find that when I look for the good stuff, the people helping people, the solutions, the sheer amount of aloha, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, I tend to feel a little bit better, and then I'm more useful in this crisis mode. We're coming out of crisis mode. It's coming to recovery, and this recovery is going to be a journey, a process, just in the sheer magnitude of what's happened in Lahaina and also upcountry, and the loss of homes and displacement and livelihood and lives. So we need to have the right eyes to focus and see the good. And again, people are being even kinder here, if you can believe that, smiling more, saying hello, looking to where they can support people, local businesses, and caring, even as our hearts are breaking. It's palpable here, people coming together in the aloha. And I had read a post online, kind of this idea of Hawaii is here to show the world about aloha, what to do in a crisis like this. Aloha pretty much means to, or the alo, to share, and the ha of breath. So to have aloha is to share the breath of life and to share your heart. This post reminded the public that the world needs aloha. And just, if you can see the boots on the ground efforts, the sea-doos, the boats getting to Lahaina, the amount of hubs that just popped up where the need arose, whether it was for displaced people, support with FEMA documents, support with housing, like people are doing or everything with their expertise that they can do at this moment to really help out this community. And again, it's really amazing and breathtaking to just watch it unfold. It's only been a little over 2 weeks, and the amount of love, aloha, community support on this tiny island in Maui is breathtaking. But this post reminded was trying to remind the public that the world needs aloha, that aloha needs to spread to the world to show the world what this is. And, if you know what this means, it's the idea of, if you have the means, you don't build a bigger fence, but you build a longer table so that everybody's welcome. And that is the essence of literally what is happening in this community since day one of these fires. And there is a lot of fear around a lot of things. And so I keep on finding touch points of stories to give me hope. One of my favorite stories is about Munich. So Munich was burned down in World War II to the ground, and the community decided to rebuild Munich to a T based on the old pictures. And even now, after World War II, going to Munich, the town is beautiful and amazing, and it still has its charm. It still has that feeling of old world Munich, pre-war. I don't know what pre-war would have been like, but that really heartwarming place of this adorable town. It's still there, even as it was burned to the ground. And, same with Hiroshima. And, I've been there as well. The Hiroshima almost has a resonance in the air that is sweeter. They've gone through something unreal. And instead of becoming bitter, they have become even more loving in that town. You can feel it's palpable. Another thing, I'm trying to find touch points in the midst of all this happening. And another thing that was pointed out to me was, Denmark was, occupied in World War II as well, and, suffered major losses and so forth. Because, there is kind of that parallel or reminiscence of how Lahaina town looks right now and being completely burned down to the ground. It's a 150-year-old wooden city with these 70, 90 mile per hour winds. Everything seemed to just add up to create a fast-moving fire. And Denmark used the time to rebuild their cities, post-war more efficiently, power lines underground. So having the opportunity to take this as well, even though, again, it's really painful to talk about right now, but we have the ability to relook at how do we make this better, and again, that idea of Munich and Hiroshima and these cities that have suffered great loss as well, they have rebuilt and retained a lot of their charm and love and amazingness. So I have faith that, Lahaina and Maui will come back and be able to create some of the things. But when I heard that Munich had been burned to the ground as well, and they as a community had decided to rebuild it to a T, it just was so heartwarming to hear. And on a personal level, this experience has been humbling. Someone else gave me that word, and I was like, yes, humbling is what this feels like. It is a real reality check. It really puts things into perspective as to what is actually important. What do I really need? How do I really need to take care of the people in my life? And how do I really need to treat people? And enjoying life as well with this idea. Life is both really sweet right now and extremely heartbreaking. I don't know how to explain it fully. Hopefully that encompasses. And things are weird. Some people think that it's not okay to be okay, or that it's not okay to not be okay. And really, truly, in this moment, as we are living and breathing through this situation, through the Maui fires and this crisis, this disaster, it is okay to be whichever. And like, we have to give ourselves a little bit more grace as to how it comes. And it tends to come in waves, you know, the emotions, the strong emotions of pure gratitude or the pure, you know, heartbreak, depending on what you're consuming as well. So being mindful of how much that might be something to consider. I've had to put my phone down a few times, but really this idea of life is both sunny and cloudy, and there is a call for deep listening to people who are here, who have gone through things, who have lost livelihoods, who have lost loved ones, to deeply listen without directly needing to fix, right? Because sometimes when we deeply listen to people, the emotions can move through the body, we can feel held. And that's just as important as, you know, boots on the ground and moving. You know, there's a process to grief, and it's a roller coaster. It's not linear. It can go up and down, and it can come out of nowhere. And, you know, it is really, really inspiring to see what the Maui community has been doing to fix and putting things into place. But again, being gentle with ourselves, it's okay to feel whichever way, good or bad in the moment. And it's okay to talk about how you actually feel and process, especially if you live on Maui, whether you were directly impacted or not. We're allowed to feel both. Like, I keep on going back to, we're allowed whatever our experience is. And we have, you know, multiple different experiences based on our perspectives, our lens, and so forth. And while we can feel more than one thing at one time, it's also important to realize that we can only pick one thought or concentrate on one thought at a time. So really that perception exercise from the gratitude, the importance of gratitude episode, where what we focus on pops out. So like, really, this is a time for looking for the positivity, the solutions, or, you know, grieving through the process, but like not so much the fear, because that can become paralyzing. So and again, like sometimes we have to start small or start simple, like maybe just cleaning your environment, right? Your room or your car out or something, to get if you're feeling really low or stagnant, to get that moving, because your environment does affect your internal state. And sometimes when you just do a little something, you know, an hour of volunteering your time, or getting yourself moving, or out in nature, or cleaning up your space around you, that can help move the internal process as well, where we start to shut down. But again, the Maui community has really been coming together, and I feel like it speaks volumes to the value of the community itself. The people I've met volunteering, looking out for each other, stepping up. I mean, love always wins. Aloha always wins. When people needed stuff, you know, people were on boats, on Sea-Doos, creating, you know, makeshift Costco's and hubs wherever, you know, with the essentials, diapers, food, medicine, water. People like Kai Lenny giving so much information on what the community needs and what they were doing. Everywhere I've looked in the last couple weeks, a group of people, volunteers, are trying to do something. And again, there's no way to know exactly what anyone does. It doesn't matter. No one is doing this for recognition. We are doing this to take care of our people, to take care of our community. And I've never seen, you know, something at this level. Again, this small island of Maui has never seen a catastrophe of this scale. I don't think any of the islands have as well. And even the paddle outs from Oahu, or the boats coming in from Molokai, or the other islands, like, we feel energetically held as well. And worldwide too, I've had friends nonstop reach out. So a few things that I was noticing the last couple of weeks is just like sense-wise, colors tend to be more vivid right now. So I think last week was volunteering in the morning. On Tuesday, I've been helping with Sugar Beach, creating really fresh food and getting that out to both evacuees and groups and volunteers, so that people are nourished and fed, so that they can continue to do the good work that they're doing. And I ran to the beach here at Mama's Fish House after, And what I noticed before work, before tutoring, that the blues of the ocean and the sky were just so blue, and the greens of the palm trees and foliage and vines were just so green. That night I actually ended up having pizza from Colleen's, and I swear it was the best, tastiest, yummiest pizza I've ever had. Everything just feels a little more vivid, a little sweeter. Playing with my 3-year-old best friend across the street, the sunsets, the sunrise, Haleakala, the West Maui Mountains, everything is just more breathtaking. And I think it's just because we as a society or community right now, or just myself in general, is just more present to what is actually happening. Like, all my senses are heightened as this has been unfolding. And really it comes back to those simple things: a hello, a hug, a how are you, how can I help? That is really the underlying feeling that's going on here. And so if you've been lucky or blessed enough to even spend a few days here, Maui is just this special place that tends to, find its way to people's heart. The beauty, the mana or power of this island is palpable, and the world's support has been unreal. And it really has been the individuals of a society, the individuals meeting the needs of the people most affected. And what we're seeing right now is a lot of people have been like running on fumes, burning both candles, or both the candles on both ends of the stick. But really, and also, what's been coming up now is you have to take care of yourself in order to continue to help this society, because this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. There's a lot to do in the upcoming months and years to really rebuild this community of where people have been displaced, the homes, the livelihoods, and it's a really one step at a time, and it's not possible to go at 100%. And it brings me back to, so the Friday after this happened, so we really only found out about the extent of things kind of late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, because unfortunately the sirens did not go off across the island, and that's a whole other can of worms. But I went to yoga 2 days after, so Friday morning, and I pushed myself to a T because I could feel myself like building up pressure-wise emotionally. Like, it just was feeling overwhelming. And I ended up crying in Shavasana. I did every hard posture possible and then some to push my body to move the emotion that was stuck, to really create a reset. And my body, my nervous system was able to reset 2 days after kind of this crisis, this processing of it. And it's not because I just went to yoga one day, it's the years and years of practice. And to be honest, I'm not sure I would have been able to reset so quickly because this has been so overwhelming. But it felt like literally letting air out of a tire, the pressure building up, crying in Shavasana, so that I could reset to be more of service right now, for emotionally, mentally, physically. It really is that breath work and movement and the resetting of the nervous system. Again, better out than in, releasing tension, emotion, and getting anything that's stuck in the body so that you can be more helpful, more present, not shut down, right? I have seen a lot of people shut down, which is understandable as well. This is a catastrophe on a grand scale. So I was really, really happy when school got back into session. I mean, most of it got pushed back a couple or 1 week, some a couple weeks. And of course, the schools that were lost up in Lahaina, that's a different story where kids are having to, enroll in other schools. But I was really glad to get some normalcy for kids once school started back up. It was only delayed again a week in upcountry. But there's been, I'm trying to find these moments of beauty. So while all this was going on, there was a structure fire in Haiku, and I live in the jungle, so it tends to not be something. Unfortunately, there's probably was some looting going on, but I live in a neighborhood where we are a true community in this little true community of Maui, and it's an international community. And my neighbors came straight to tell me once they were told, there was no delay in that. And I think that's one of the reasons people are drawn here as well. And then little moments of, it's interesting how being here it impacts you slightly differently. There is a little bit of PTSD. There's been a lot of random fire trucks coming even on the North Shore in the last few days and weeks, and not necessarily trusting the people to warn us because the alarm system was not going off. I've actually found out the extent of the fires with the Kihei evacuation with North Kihei, and that ended up being one of the least deadly and least damaging fires. It was in the fields up country, got a little close to those condos up north on northern Kihei. But, it's dry on this island right now. We have to take care of the land for sure. And, it's usually rainy and jungly out here. And even, the last 5 years or so, my lawn has been dry. So there are so many grassroots organizations right now volunteering. I've been volunteering at Sugar Beach events with the chefs over there. And again, it's really, really beautiful to watch. Everywhere I look, someone is doing something. But I know people who are in the official systems and groups and EOC, and they're doing everything in their power too. This is just such a grand scale of catastrophe that you have to just do the step in front, right? We need the direct support, but we also need to be intentional. Direct support with money always helps. Intentionally buying from local companies and products and businesses, because the ripple effect, the far-reaching economic impact of so many lost homes and livelihood is far-reaching. And the community has just stepped up in these really beautiful ways. And I'll link some of these direct support links in the show notes. But, the community has created a Google document, and actually as of today, you can directly donate to the GoFundMe links in one click, and it will be dispersed evenly through everybody. But there was on the ground just individuals creating a Google Doc of all the families that were affected. When I wrote my first newsletter right after the fires, it was actually at 600, but before the newsletter went out, it was over 1,000. That's how quickly the numbers and people displaced and needing just basic resources, we're talking food, clothing, water, was jumping at that point. And then the direct, donations of food, the Venmos to directly help people. There's also a direct Venmo that I'll put into the show notes as well. And, again, coming back to that ripple effect of being really intentional, or my intention is to be intentional with where my money is going, local businesses, the farmers market, directly to people that I know who have lost homes or lost livelihoods. And again, I'll put those links in the resources and in the newsletter if you were on that. And there is a lot of money. There is a lot of money to rebuild coming in. And, the community's been talking a lot about using Maui businesses directly, the skills, the businesses itself. We have so many talented construction companies and skilled labor and so forth that really know this community inside and out. I think one of the directives, and FEMA actually was talking about, the community is the best resource to help the community. We know how this place runs. We know what is needed. We know how to navigate the logistics of being on an island in the middle of the Pacific. So, and boosting this economy on top of the loss of so much and displacement and so much is really, really important. So what is the link to creating confident learners and school? Yes, the normalcy, which I talked about, and being able to reset the nervous system through the things that I teach, the breath work and so forth. But these Maui fires has also reminded me of the fact that most families that come to me, not all, but most of them come to me in crisis. It's often the kids and families where school is not working, the dyslexia is, prevalent, that they're noticing that their child is noticeably behind their peers, the negative self-talk, like the I'm stupid, I can't, I won't, or shut down behavior. I tend to see kids in crisis where the problems are feeling too big, and it is sometimes too big. There's multiple things happening. That is what is happening right now here in Maui. There are multiple facets to this problem. It's not only just in Lahaina, it's up country. It's, getting drinking water and safe water in certain areas. It's the displacement of thousands of people, loss of lives, loss of homes, economic impact of the community. So it is a complex situation. And oftentimes when kids come to me in crisis, in academic crisis, it's complex as well. So it's an unwinding process, much like the frustration of the first week of these fires. There's so much to address. The situation is compounded and so much is needed. And the solutions do take some systemization, some time to unwind, some time to feel. I think we're seeing that it's starting to come together, and that everything will be rebuilt with love and aloha over time. My good friend Dennis Martin, I've actually talked about him in this podcast as well this time, talked about a hurricane coming through his Florida town 20 years ago. And he mentioned that you can still see the scars of that town if you have the right eyes. But it also makes me think about how scars are so beautiful and her reminders of the things that we love dearly, the things that we've lived through. And so I do have so much hope. Oftentimes these families come to me in full crisis, and as the weeks unwind, as the months unwind, we start to see the progress, So I think we are still here on Maui a little bit in the thick of it, of the crisis mode of like deep recovery. And my hope is that over time we will start to see this unfold in a positive way, So again, when I see students in crisis, there is a process of grieving, a process of changing, a process of step by step. What is the solution? One at a time, So really, when we have crisis, it's one step at a time. What is the solution right now in this moment? And the process is a process of unwinding. And so my hope is that the people of Maui, that this community, I know that they're resilient. And even though there is still so much work to do, that we will shine brighter and grow together and take steps to care for this beautiful island and the community to make it better for generations to come. And so I'll just leave you with my favorite lullaby, which always makes my heart smile and puts a smile on my face, and I hope it does for you as well.
Okay, this one's for Gabby. too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't I